Hey everybody, this is John with from Film Juice here with Mike,
Hello.
and today we're going to be talking about Soldier from 1998, starring Kurt Russell, and directed by Paul W.S. Anderson.
Ooh, I would say he was at the height of his power during this movie.
I think he was like on probably at his greatest streak maybe too during this.
Yeah,
Like
because
this
I
movie
think
falls in that period.
right after this, it was Event Horizon, which was pretty good. Well, I think it was good.
I haven't
Um,
seen it.
it's good. It's just like a space horror kind of slasher movie.
Yeah,
Um, and there's a lot of practical sets and models, and it's
oh
just
wow.
those movies are like the polar opposite of all. I don't know how many Resident Evil movies he made. Embarrassingly, um, Soldier, Soldier. I hadn't seen it.
Soldier.
I was what? You said 95, right?
98. It's 98.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
let me pull.
95 was Mortal Kombat for Paul
Oh
W.S.
shoot, you're right.
Anderson.
Yeah, yeah. He
Yeah.
was on a roll.
Um, and I gotta say so interesting thing about this movie too is that so they had a really good director, and the writer David Webb Peoples, he actually wrote Blade Runner.
Oh wow. And 12 Monkeys and Unforgiven. Wow, this is guy. This is guy who good writer. He write good.
He writes really good. And 12 Monkeys actually, it's funny that that movie comes up because I was thinking about that with this whole monkeypox thing. It's totally a side note, but
Yeah.
it's basically the same, well, almost the same concept, right? Like this monkey virus.
Well, there's a lot of I think time sliding.
I there may be. I'm looking at the trailer right now, and it looks like there may be. I haven't seen the movie in such a long time, though.
Same here. I watched bits and pieces of it a couple of years ago, and I was very confused. So I need to like sit down and pay attention to this one.
Yeah, maybe we'll revisit that one soon and
Yeah, we
talk
probably
about it.
should. Yeah,
Um,
that movie was very. I mean, it was good looking, and Bruce Willis was in his still in his prime. I think he was on his way out, but
yeah.
that was a pretty good one. But yeah, good point on that writer.
So
Is
there was a
that
great combination here, I think, from well, because I love Blade Runner. It's one of my favorite movies. Um, and it's a lot. There's a lot of, and this is one of the things that I guess plagued it, and in the bad sense, in that it was a lot of kind of just uh you kind of it relied on the audience to read the actors and the scenes, without much dialogue.
Mhm.
And the director and the writer, I feel like were really I think they were kind of on that same page. And because, well, with David Webb Peoples, I think in Soldier, I think his writing brought that quietness to that movie.
Yeah, it was definitely. I mean, I have obviously seen the script, but I would imagine the script is just a lot of descriptions and like for the first. I don't know,
Facial
because
expressions and
yeah, facial expressions, tone.
mannerisms.
A lot of it is
It
it's all very visual, a lot of visual metaphors. Because
the
yeah, Soldier does not talk. What's his name? Todd.
Yeah, Kurt Russell plays Todd, the soldier who doesn't talk really. Yeah, because he's just been programmed to be a soldier to fight.
You're in
And
discipline, sir.
fear and discipline, right? And so you see him actually not show many emotions at all. He just shows. I mean, he's supposed to. But he was trained that way. He was trained to, yeah, fear, show, put
Show
fear
no
into,
compassion. He's supposed to.
yeah.
He's trained in the beginning. I love that whole montage, the training montage of him growing up as a soldier, and there's that scene where he shoots through the like everyone else hesitates, but he just shoots through the hostage in that target
Oh
practice,
yes, uh-huh.
which comes back later. Um, but yeah, he's ruthless as a child. He's not malicious. He's just dutiful. He's doing what he's programmed to do. His the younger, not the youngest version of him, but the younger version of him is played by Kurt Russell's son Wyatt, who is now part of the MCU along with his dad. You see that? How I always bring everything back to freaking Marvel?
Kurt Russell's is part of the MCU.
He played Ego in Guardians too.
Oh shoot, that's right. Okay, that's funny. So maybe
But
he's
yeah,
related to
he
Star
looks
Lord in some
that
way.
was amazing that like didn't you see that kid and be like, man, that looks just like a young Kurt Russell?
I never did say that, but now when you brought that up to me the other day, I was like, okay, yeah, I see it.
He nailed it. And that kid was a good actor. He just like
Yeah.
it's just like show no expression, kid. It's hard for a kid not to just like start smiling or do something cutesy. That kid was a badass.
Yes. Oh yeah. So in Soldier, right? In
Yeah.
Soldier. Yes. Yeah. Um. Yes. And you know, you're right. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the Captain America, uh,
Oh no.
series, but no, you're right. In the movie, I thought it did look exactly like Kurt Russell as a kid, and yeah, I didn't realize it was his son until you told me. So yeah, I think Paul W.S. Anderson. He's a very what's it called? From the movies that we've seen, he's very good at um, it's kind of like taking you, within the journey, and so I think it was just a great combination there, dude. Like you had someone who could visually help, interpret what was written, to the
Mhm.
audience. And it just, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, and I have to say, like even like the beginning of the movie, it looked kind of cheap. And it was late 90s, whatever. But the movie progressively gets better and better set design.
Yeah, dude, it was huge sets.
Huge sets, huge ATVs, like those armored troop vehicles. Like
Yes.
I was like, Jesus, those are real.
Yeah, same here. I was like, wow, they wouldn't make those today.
Yeah, they would just be CGI.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, seeing the guys in like the little driver's seat and all the buttons and the oh, I liked
The cockpit and
the cockpit,
the
yeah, and
weapons.
the weapons, the practical explosions. The I love the parking meter graveyard.
Yeah, same
It's
here.
that was really haunting, and it's like it makes you wonder what was this planet before. And the movie never talks about it because nobody knows what a parking meter is.
Yes, exactly. It yeah, it definitely left a lot to imagination, and you actually find out too that at this point in time, I think it's around like it's honestly around like the 20 teens, like time period wise, I think, right?
Let's see, 2036.
Okay, 2036. Yeah, so at this point there's this, I guess intergalactic kind of uh um
It's like an invasion force, kind of like they're kind of playing with the galaxy. They use planets as training grounds. They disregard, the indigenous people. They're really just focused on might and power and overbearing. Like they conquered that planet just with trash,
mhm.
and now they're using these. They were genetically enhanced soldiers. So Kurt Russell, well, sorry, Todd comes from the kind of natural, because they show him as an infant. He was born, he was
Yeah,
naturally
natural
raised,
birth.
right? But of course,
And
brainwashed and whatever.
as right, all the way up to his present age.
Yeah, and you get Jason Isaac, who's a great bastard in this movie.
Yeah, dude, he did a great job.
I didn't want him to have an American accent though. I love his devious British accent. Uh,
Okay, he's British.
yeah, he's totally British.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so when he was in the Patriot, that was his real accent. I mean, he was probably dressed up, but
Um, Jason Scott Lee did
Scott
a great
Lee.
job too.
Oh yes, yeah, dude, that guy was that was like
He was like the other main antagonist as
yeah, he was
well.
like the ground antagonist.
Yeah.
He's very T1000 ish,
Mm-hmm.
but slightly scarier.
Yeah, his build and everything, like you, just the way he kind of like, um, you see, like we see like a couple of fights and just the way he carries himself, you can
Yeah,
tell that there's like knowledge to hurt. Like he has very a lot of knowledge to just to be able to hurt someone.
yeah,
Yeah, just in his movements, like yeah.
and he even has just an evil name, Kane, just tattooed on his face. And the whole I
Yeah.
love that first fight when they're like, let's measure, these guys' dicks, basically, let's see who's better and faster and stronger. And the natural guys are losing left and right, and then they do the chains, right?
Right, they climbed the chain.
That was awesome and impressive, just from like an athletic standpoint, because that
Yeah,
was all
dude.
real.
Jason Scott Lee just freaking
He just scaled it. Like he didn't
yeah,
even use his legs.
exactly. Yeah.
It's
And
so
then they fight on the chains. He fights like four of them.
three. They send one guy, and then Jason Isaacs, I think, tells Gary Busey, who's like the natural guy's like advocate, the general or whatever of the naturally born soldiers. I think Jason Isaacs tells him send more or something like that.
Oh, that's right. He said it won't be because he was just gonna set
It's not
Todd.
fair. Yeah,
Yeah, and he said that's our best, but it wouldn't be fair.
yeah.
So yeah, he tells him
So
send two
cocky.
more, and
Um,
yeah, he just Kane just starts taking them all out.
and that's a great fight too. Just like the um, the logistics of it on the chains,
Mm.
the swinging around and whipping them around as weapons. Um, the fight choreography is really impressive in this movie. I mean, for the time period, because 97, it was 97,
90 or yeah, it was
98. Sorry.
filmed in 97 probably, but yeah.
But that was like the transition right into when Americans had like a fetish for martial arts and
Mm-hmm.
not just like brawling. We were heading into like our Jet Li phase. Jackie Chan was about to come out in Rush Hour that year.
Mm.
And yeah, this just felt like two guys just smacking the shit out of each other.
Yeah, it was definitely you feel that sense of intensity and danger um in that fight too, especially.
Right. And I think I pointed this out in when we talked about the Gray Man, that the sound effects didn't sound hokey. Like the punches sounded
Right.
like real. It wasn't just like
Yes.
it was like they were hitting each other, or they made some
Yes.
like, pretty
This
good
one did
sound
sound that.
choices.
They did.
But yeah, so Todd takes out Kane's eye, but Todd still loses. Which I don't know how they
Right.
even confirmed he was dead. He obviously like the other dead guy broke his fall, and they just throw him in the trash.
Mm-hmm. They disposed of him.
Yeah,
He was
and
obsolete.
I thought it was hilarious how Jason Isaacs is like, "What the hell's wrong with you? Look at yourself. You're useless. You have no depth perception." And yet he has him drive a car later.
Yeah, so you see that his eye was replaced. Jason
Oh, that's
Scott
right.
Lee's character. Yeah, his eye
Oh,
was
okay.
replaced, and he was, I guess, brought back to, I guess, his full 100% as he could.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, that was really shitty of that character, uh, Jason Isaac's character, the Colonel,
Mhm.
um, just to
Nico.
really yeah, just scream at him like that and be like,
Yeah, and so like you can tell these guys are like really, because they're like genetically engineered. They're not born, they're grown.
Mm-hmm.
So they really have absolutely no humanity. And
Yeah.
which makes the movie very black and white, which is fine with me. It's like the movie's so simplistic.
Yes.
So you have your bad guys, obviously, you have the bad guys also trying to take over the good guys. They take away all the natural soldiers' guns. They're like, no, now we're spearheading this military program. Meanwhile, Kurt Russell gets dumped on a trash planet, which was again another impressive practical set. That big old trash pit.
I loved it. It really gave you the sense that you were on this otherworld place, and at first you wondered if it was the Earth, um, just
Yeah,
after many years in war, nuclear war or something.
the movie it
Um,
leaves enough mystery to like what you know what year it is. You know these are humans. Where are they? Like they're in space. They're on these other planets. And so my first instinct was like when I saw the parking meters, and like I think there's some like junked up cars, right? Because they like use them for to live in. Like they use like old planes and car parts to build
yeah.
their little scavenger village. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
He just kind of walks there.
Let me think back. He's on the planet. Yeah, I want to say that I want to say that someone finds him because he's
all right,
I did write this down.
we both took notes this time.
Was he really so injured that he had to be in bed that long?
Unless it was all adrenaline that he pulled himself out of that trash pit and then walked who knows how many miles to the little scavenger village. And then he collapses. And they keep him there like
Sean Pertwee, the dad character,
hmm
does a great job.
yeah, he acts as the kind of as the advocate basically in the village for him, for the
yeah, he's
soldiers.
like the only one comfortable with having him there because he knows. I think maybe not in a like an inhumane way. He thinks that he's a good guy to have around because they need
Mm,
him, and there's some looming danger that whoever comes by next might not just be dropping off trash. So he's motivated more by protecting his family in the village. But his wife, Connie Nielsen, who what's her name, Rose or something, Sandra, and Sean Pertwee is Mace. So Mace and Sandra take in Todd, and they bring in Todd to their little family. They got a little boy, and Todd develops like an instant bond with that kid. And like we were saying, the movie's very simple, and it talks a lot just through very basic metaphors. Like the kid is his innocence. That on one hand, he doesn't want to see the kid grow up soft, but he doesn't want to see the kid grow up to be a monster.
hmm
Um,
And they're very protective. It's their only kid, and
yeah, it's the only
he's
kid.
also
He almost died once already from a snake bite.
that's
That's why he
right.
can't talk. Um,
And that's what the fact that Todd doesn't talk and the kid doesn't talk, that kind of is something that
yeah,
they have like an understanding of each other.
yeah. Like the little caveman moment when is it he sees the snake and the kid he's like he grabs the snake from the kid like from biting him, and then he throws the snake back on the ground. And he's like, hit it with a boot, hit it with a
Mm,
boot. Well,
hmm
he's not saying that, but he's
He's
slamming a
showing
boot on the
him.
bed like, take the other boot and go kill it.
Right.
And that paints him in a bad light with the parents, with
For a
May
bit,
Andrew.
yeah, for a minute there.
I
But
don't know,
that
there's a
was a
little,
great moment there because I think that's a great scene that helps describe just just what Todd is going through throughout the movie and how he's developing as well. As he's looking at the kid, he's and helping the kid, he's finding parts of his humanity.
Yeah.
And that was one where he's finding a little bit of what it means to care for a child,
Mhm.
and that father kind of instinct. And
Yeah. And it's kind of a learned behavior. He's learning from Sandra and Mace, and let's face it, mostly Sandra,
Mhm.
because I swear to God, there were two parts where he's looking at her and the camera zoomed into her cleavage,
Oh yeah.
which is, I felt like that was more innocent than anything.
Right. Because he's never had the opportunity to really feel that way about a female.
Right. Yeah. I felt like that wasn't pervy.
He even acknowledges, because that he's just admiring her, right? And he finds that he's attracted to her, and that she tries to speak with him, and you could tell he's having a hard time, like, with his emotions that are coming about as he's looking at her, right?
Yeah. And then I
And
think in that same scene, is she planting something like a plant? She's like, "Here, you plant the plant."
yes, that's one.
So
That's where.
that's, yeah.
And she asks him, I think, in that scene, like, what do you feel like, or what do you think about? You must be thinking about something. Or and he's like, fear.
Oh,
And I
right.
think that's where he answers, fear and discipline.
Yeah, right. He hesitates. That's some good acting in that scene where he's just like hesitating. You can tell he wants to speak, but it's maybe something he's never been trained to do, like
Mm,
speak openly. And
yeah,
he also has this charming thing where he calls everyone sir. So
that's right. And
he's like, you
yeah.
must feel something, and he's like, fear and discipline, sir. Fear and discipline. And then he sits back down. It's like you just feel kind of bad for him. Like
Yeah.
he's not a bad person.
Yeah. And I think part of that too was like disciplining himself. What I got from that too was disciplining himself to where he doesn't, he's holding back his feelings in some way for her, right? Out
Right.
of
Yeah.
respect
He's kind of
for
being respectful. Yeah.
her and Mace
Her and
and
Mace.
their relationship.
If anything, he's more like he's got a sense of envy about him, but he doesn't really know what envy is. I mean, there's a little bit of
Yeah.
jealousy there.
Yeah.
Mace he takes Todd with his party to go, and what are they doing? They're trying to get some scrap, right? From like a turbine. And
I believe so.
a windstorm kicks up, the turbine turns on, and it starts sucking in one guy that's hooked to a chain. And in badass fashion, there's like half a dozen people that are trying to pull this guy back in from being sucked into this turbine. And suddenly the chain just starts pulling itself. It pans over, and there's Kurt Russell just on his own. And
Just reeling him in.
the guy,
God, that actor, he's been in so many things.
Michael Chiklis is the guy that he saves.
Oh yes, yeah. He was in that show.
The
The real popular
well, I know
show.
he was
Remember? Shield, the Shield.
the Shield. He was in the Shield, and he was also the Thing.
That's right. Fantastic Four.
Yeah. And yeah, I recognized him. I was like, why is it? He looks so familiar, and he has hair, so I don't know. But that guy is like eternally grateful. They go back to the camp. He knits Kurt Russell a nice little scarf, and he's like, tells one of the ladies, like, can you give this to him for me? And they're like, no, you give it to him yourself. Which is a grave mistake. So Kurt Russell's not doing it. He gets triggered by, there's some festivities around. There's fireworks. There's people, dancing and having fun. And he sees the Mace Sandra family cuddling and being happy. And here comes Michael Chiklis with his damn scarf. And I think he touches
Well,
Kurt Russell's shoulder or something, right?
Yeah, and so what's triggered too is like all these scenes of war, and so
Right.
he's almost like going back and forth from some moment in war, like where he did shoot, innocent people, and he sees these, then he sees them dancing there, and so he gets away, and just trying to handle that, and then all these emotions he has for Sandra, and then like you said, a bit of like jealousy or envy that he's trying to fight. And so he's like training, he's like punching this gas tank,
Yeah.
and he's just like denting it, and his hands are bleeding, and that's when Michael Chiklis approaches him with his scarf.
That's
It
right.
was totally, yeah,
That was so
totally a bad
terrible. I
idea.
felt so bad because he's literally about to throw that guy's head into, it was like a blade or something, right? So he's gonna kill
That's
him as soon as he
right.
saved him.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
he grabs him by the throat and just pins him
yeah, and
down
he's
to this
I had
big
the captions
machine.
on.
I had the captions on, and Michael Chiklis' character is just saying "scarf, scarf,
Yeah.
scarf," because you think he's saying stop, but he's just saying "scarf" over and over again. And Kurt Russell finally snaps back, and everyone's like afraid of him. Meanwhile, what's Jason Isaac's name? Meekum, and I'm just gonna call him Gary Busey. Meekum and Gary Busey.
Church. That was
Church.
Gary
There you go.
Busey's name, Church.
Church. Did you think? Okay, let's talk about Church for a second, because I like Gary Busey.
Me
He's
too.
a crazy man, but that's not always his fault. Um, like he had
He's
a
a
bad
great
accident.
crazy guy.
He had a bad accident, and he went a little nuts. But I like seeing him, and he does a good job, and like he always plays a good job playing a military guy.
Yeah.
But I felt like the character was really inconsistent, because I thought he was going to put up a fight with Meekum the entire time, and they were just going to butt heads. But he becomes complacent with allowing himself to be undermined, and like basically his whole operation taken over by Meekum for the sake of
Right.
testing out the soldiers. And then for the sake of, let's use these, basically, they don't say it, but basically, let's use these civilians as target practice. If
Mhm.
anything is down there, they're hostile.
Right.
So there's that. And then I feel like I'm fast forwarding through something, but they exile Kurt Russell, Todd.
His best soldier.
Yeah. And Todd he decides to live not very far from the town. And that's when the snake thing happens, when the snake goes after the parents, to Sandra and Mace.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the kid catches it and like beats the hell out of it.
And they realize, oh, Todd was teaching him something.
Yeah, Todd has something to teach us. Yeah.
Yeah, there we
Oh.
go. That's what it was. And that
So
was really good too. It was definitely yeah, those people were trying to it took them so long to see the use of a soldier.
right.
They were so blind to it.
I think what they
And
were blind to was the fact that he could be rehabilitated into, at least someone who isn't
mm,
trying to
mhm.
choke out a guy giving him a scarf.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Like they didn't see like this man can change, this he's not a bad man, he's a good man, and he doesn't maybe mean well, but he doesn't mean you harm, and he never deliberately killed anybody. He just snapped that one time, and it's all right. So Mace sees his worth, and he's like, let me go back and get him. And this is my my qualm with this. It was literally because I felt like it was maybe like 3 minutes from when they exiled him to when Mace goes to go get Todd.
Mm-hmm.
And I
It
felt
was
like they should have
fast.
had some nice like contemplative scenes of Todd like among the dunes
Oh,
scavenging.
Oh, I see.
But
Some more like landscape or
some more landscapes, some matte
environment
paintings. Um,
environmental type.
yeah, even though like the sets are fine. Like I love that he was living in an old crashed plane or something. I think he was living on a plane
I
turbine.
Yeah, that would have been cool. I was gonna say, it made me think about it later after the movie. Is that the movie takes place in just a few areas, really, for the most
Mhm.
part, but but they really feel they're very immersive, and they definitely don't get boring.
Yeah, they don't get
Um,
boring. Although like the scenes in the village feel a little soundstagey, but it's whatever. They accomplished all the
yeah,
spoilers.
I thought. I mean, it was still like it was still a huge set though. Even the village, like there was a few areas within it that, to me, at least it felt it didn't feel it was very simple, but it didn't feel like boring or.
Yeah, it didn't
But
feel
I
like
see
too
what you
low
mean.
budget.
But yeah,
Yeah,
that
I see what you mean though. If it did have a few more, like maybe showing the moons at night, or him on a dune, or
Yeah, or a few more shots of like ships passing them by because nobody knows they're there. Um,
mm-hmm.
like missed opportunities. Like they say it at
maybe
the
maybe
beginning.
even maybe even them like finding some old records of what was on
Yeah,
that planet, and just kind of, maybe that helped them find some scrap or something.
they find some old books, and one of them's Blade Runner.
Harrison Ford's character.
Ford.
I forget his name. I can't believe I forget his name.
I
I'm
can't
a brain
remember it right
fart.
now either.
Interesting thing in comparison to the lead characters. What is it? It's not Derek. It's
Oh my god, you're right there.
it starts with a D.
yeah.
Let's try to do it without
Um
looking it up.
um uh, the
D- okay.
the Decker.
Hecker, there you go. Good job.
Yes. Um yeah, so Decker, the comparison to Decker and Todd from Soldier,
Mhm.
they're actually similar characters. They're finding their humanity, uh and there's this physical um uh communicate it's physically communicated in throughout the movies, like their inner and emotional struggle, and a lot of it comes out in anger, it comes out in force,
Mhm.
and
It's
I
always inappropriate.
and there's a little bit of it, yeah, it's messy, right?
Right.
And I appreciate that about this character and Blade Runner, because that to me is realistic, like that's I'm not you know what I mean, like in real life things are a little messy,
Right.
and
It's not always a smooth transition. It's not always obvious. Um,
right,
these
it's not
like you're right.
always Disney
Yeah.
Channel, uh you know hour and a half movie kind of eureka moment.
Yeah.
It's
It's gradual.
right.
And they each have their own trials to like overcome that gets them to that next level of compassion of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, poor let's see what happened. Okay, so uh, what's his name? Damn it. Meekum. Um, decides to send in his troops and clear out the refugees, villagers, whatever, scavengers.
That's right, they're running back to the village, right?
Right, yeah. And well, they're going back to warn them. And
That's right.
Mace gets his leg chopped off or shot off.
It's blown off
It's blown off.
by yeah, they were shooting like mortar rounds basically
Oh, okay.
at from those huge tank like vehicles.
Yeah.
Um
which is it's sad because I respect that character. He seems pretty
Hmm.
secure in his masculinity enough to be like, this guy's really strong and useful. I want him to
Right.
protect my family too. He was a very sensible person, and he was probably like the badass before Kurt Russell showed up. He's never shown to be a coward, or he's not hiding behind Kurt Russell, and he's by his side whenever they're in a fight.
Yeah, and
Um,
he's almost like second in command in the community
yeah, I mean, he had
because
all that clout to get him to stay.
hmm
So he's a respected person. And yeah, it was sad when he died. Spoilers for this 20-year-old movie. Um, but yeah, that was a good scene. He had a decent death.
Yeah, I got to give it to Kurt Russell too in this movie. How I honestly like. So I love like movies that he's been in. Like Tombstone is one of my favorite.
Oh yeah.
He was good in Stargate. Um,
Yeah.
and Big Trouble in Little China is a good one.
The Thing.
The Thing, yes, that's another good one. Um, and yeah, I think this is one of his from my impression, this is one of his better acting roles. I know he doesn't say much, but I think and you actually expressed this in Universal Soldier with Van Damme. It's like
Yeah, it's the same thing.
y- the almost the least that you have to say sometimes. I mean, that's a difficult kind of role to play. And especially since he's known to be a wisecracking kind of at this point in his career,
Yeah.
wisecracking kind of badass, um, and to really and to allow himself, to have a role where with very little dialogue. Um, it's almost like a Rambo role as well.
Exactly. Yeah. They communicate everything with their eyes. Kurt Russell has this great thing that he does with his eyes where he doesn't move the rest of his face, but his eyes widen when he starts feeling something. And I'm like, okay, but I get it. I get what he's communicating there. That's a challenge for like any actor, probably. He shows emotion when Mace dies. I mean, he doesn't really. I mean, enough as
There's
he.
some. I love him too because when he's feeling something, and because like he when he shows that emotion for like that he's really feeling it, his
Right.
character. And I love that how uh, that aspect just really draws you in and immerses. It's very immersive in his story and in the movie.
Yeah, he portrays that restraint really well. That like, I can't emote. Like, I don't know what that means.
Uh-huh.
And he's got this combination of confusion, compassion, and anger, and it all just it's really he's got like five emotions in the movie, but he nails them every time.
Right. And they're so intense. Like,
Yeah, he's very intense.
it's great.
So yeah, this leads to like the absolute best part of the movie, the nighttime sniping.
Nighttime sniping.
Yeah, when they're assaulting the village, and he's going around just like knocking out all 17
Oh,
soldiers, which I thought was
yes.
cool. Give me a head count. Give me a head count so I can count how many guys he's killing. Because they said
Mm-hmm.
exactly 17.
Oh
And
yeah.
I was like sitting there, I was like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it just gives it like a nice, like without putting a clock on it, it gives it a nice there's a period at the end of the sentence. And
Mm.
you can't wait to get to the end because you want to like what he's gonna fight Kane.
Yes,
And
that's right.
that's what you want to see is round two. And that yeah, so Sandra is there protecting the children, the other villagers are getting blown away. Kurt Russell's doing this crazy SEAL Team 6 crap.
Yeah. All these stealth kills and he's
All these
under the
stealth kills
water and
and I'm man,
he's like camouflaged like crazy too. That was
he does.
such a
Yeah,
cool scene.
he puts the stripes on his face.
Mm-hmm.
And he I love that scene when he goes, I was like, please do the thing where you go underwater or when you come up from under the water. And he does.
He does, right?
And he kills the shit out of those guys too. That was great. And you don't feel bad for them. That's so nice. It's like killing stormtroopers. Um, but yeah, so he fights Kane. He kills all of the extra soldiers. Of course, Meekum is freaking out. Meekum looks like he wants to cry.
Yeah,
Like
he's like, can't believe my beautiful $1 billion soldiers are getting wiped all over the floor with. Yeah, he's super pissed and he's panicking.
Yeah. Is that when he decides like let's just nuke everything?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Yeah, it is. I know Church is waiting for some of his colleagues to get back, but Meekum just like leave them as they're planning the nuclear bomb or whatever it is. And it's a planet killer is what they call it.
It's a planet killer, yeah. And I like that when Gary Busey's like, well, I didn't like it at the same time. Because Meekum's like, do you have any of those planet killer? I'm just gonna give him an accent. Do you have a planet killer on board? And Gary Busey's like, yeah, we carry 15 of them. Gary Busey's guys go out to set the bomb. Kurt Russell's having a badass fight, which looked painful. Like it felt like a Universal Soldier fight.
Yeah, it did, and man, I can't. It was intense. There was
some classic like thunder and lightning and rain happening. It was just like the perfect showdown.
Mm-hmm. Yes, there you go.
And yeah, so they beat the crap out of each other. How does he end up killing him? Oh, we forgot the cool part. Okay. Remember when he takes over, he hijacks the tank and he's coming up behind Kane, and Kane's like, 6, you're coming up on my 6. And Kurt Russell's like, yeah. He's like, you're about to hit me. Yeah. And he just like knocks him down. And that's when the fight starts. I mean, that's when doesn't he inject himself with like adrenaline and all kinds of crap? Kane.
Yeah, because he's wounded from that collision. And yeah, he goes ahead and pulls out the like you said,
kind of stimulants.
And that just like you see him, it's like a drug. He just gets right back up and ready to kill.
Yeah, Todd does something interesting to stop him, and I can't remember what it was. So yeah, I think that's when he spots like the guys are already on the planet. They're planning the bomb.
Yeah, they start going at it. Fist fighting. Kane comes out of the shadows, and yeah, there's some good fight choreography there. They each get a few good hits on each other, and Kane's just like completely taking out brute force Todd. And Todd uses that helicopter blade, remember, to slash Kane across the stomach.
Yeah, and at the same time, they're bringing in the planet killer. Todd sees this, so he gets everybody to like, he tries to wrangle up all the survivors, I guess.
Yes, and they head for the ship.
Right, and his former fellow soldiers salute him. They're like, yeah, we'll help you now. We didn't like that guy anyway.
Yeah, he killed our commander, and now he's dead, so now you're our commander.
So they dump Meekum. Meekum pisses himself, which is hilarious. And they dump him and his two little helpers on the planet with the planet killer.
And the timer is about to go off. And
yeah. And this is something for me because it's not very explicitly stated that they're the only people on the planet.
Mm,
So to save one tiny village of like, I don't know, maybe 20 people are left, and you just blew up an entire planet. Well, he's still getting used to his humanity, I guess.
it seems like there isn't anyone left, but you're right. I mean, there could have been.
There could have been. I mean, there's trash everywhere. There's got to be some trash people elsewhere. Um, but yeah, so he's picks up the little boy and they look out into space, and
They see a galaxy.
yeah, they see another galaxy, and
Oh yeah, they're headed to the Trinity moons.
that's right, where they were supposed to go anyway. I guess that's Jupiter.
I'm not sure, but that's
Jupiter or
supposed to be
Saturn.
a very nice and habitable place for
Yeah.
humans.
So, and that's it. And it very simple, very straightforward, very impressive set design, and some good imagination behind the dystopian look of the trash planet. Um, and I like the designs of the ships. I thought they were kind of interesting, like the trash ship. It's got like the three giant orbs on the bottom. I like the hinted at history of like, yeah, we crashed here and they just kept dumping trash and we can't get anybody's attention. And they say so
Right.
little about everything. It's like reading a really good short story.
I love the cover art for the
Which
movie
one?
poster. And well, I guess the DVD one is good. But I like I think it's theatrical. But there's another one where it almost looks like a comic book cover. It shows the moon in the back and another planet in the sky there, and then he's in some ships, and he's on the ground with the weapon, and it has soldier on the bottom left corner
Oh,
there.
okay.
Yeah, that's like an 80s cover.
Yeah, that's soldier.
That is Soldier. Weirdly, it got like a bunch of negative reviews when it came out.
And it bombed in the box office, sadly.
That's crazy.
It was a budget of 60 million, and opening weekend it got 6 million,
Yikes.
6.5 million basically, and then worldwide it was almost 15 million.
Wow, that is a
So
bomb. But like not in terms of content, just geez.
yeah, and this came out of Warner Brothers
Wow.
too. Respect.
Respect. Yeah. Between this, Event Horizon, Mortal Kombat, I would say even the first Resident Evil, probably some of Paul W.S. Anderson's best movies.
Interesting thing, me too. I would say the same. This is definitely up there in his top 3 to me. I mean, I I almost feel like this is almost his best movie, honestly.
It might be
Like,
one of the best 90s action sci-fi movies.
it's funny, he apparently he had stated that as far as he was concerned, this film was a sidequel to Blade Runner, as
Interesting.
and it occurs in the same fictional milieu as Scott's film, although it is not actually a follow-up. It says reference one of the battle names tattooed on Todd's arm, Tannhauser Gate, is from the speech Rutger Auer recites near the end of the movie.
Oh yeah, I've seen Storms in the Shadow, on the Shoulder of Orion, and whatever at the Tannhauser Gate, and something Tears in the Rain.
Yeah, so that's cool.
That's pretty neat.
This could even, I almost feel like this could maybe even be in the same universe as Universal Soldier.
It could
Like,
be.
and it's funny because if it was called Universal Soldier, like it would make sense, you know?
Makes more sense than Universal Soldier.
I wonder if the name didn't attract very many people, because it's just soldier, right? Like,
Yeah, you don't really know what it's about.
maybe if it was like colonial or colony soldier. No, I don't know.
Yeah, or
Future
Todd.
soldier.
Todd 3465.
Oh, or if they put like a year, like soldier
Oh yeah,
2037 or
there you
something.
go. Yeah, but I liked the, like I said earlier, the innocence between him and Sandra.
Mm.
Uh, I liked that there was no romantic subplot, and it was really about just him being um, emotionally barren and relearning how to be, well, not relearning, but learning how to be a human. And
Yeah. It I like that. And Universal Soldier did something similar. Like the PTSD
oh yeah, the
parts
PTSD.
as well. And
Yeah,
um I liked how, yeah, it was bringing him back into society and him fighting, his way back and learning his way back and um changing, having that was his finding his place, so that's
yeah.
soldier.
That's Soldier. If you have never seen this movie, see this movie. It's totally worth it. I think it's a good triple feature of sci-fi movies from 1998. You could do Soldier, The Fifth Element, and maybe if you're feeling brave, you could do Lost in Space, the
Oh
movie
yeah,
remake.
those were all in 98.
Roughly, I think between 97 and 99.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that's yeah, right next to each other.
Kind of, it's a transition movie in terms of special effects.
Yes, definitely. uh yeah, Starship Troopers was 97, like you said, and that one was almost all practical. I mean, they're definitely CG stuff in there, but
But the CG looks good.
yeah,
I
like
feel like it holds up.
the ships and everything. The 4K version of that one, dude. Wow, like it holds up really well.
Yeah. The and then
And
like all
Titanic too,
Titanic, yeah.
97.
But
That
that
one
was
was a
like,
lot of CG, but
there was
also
a lot of
practical.
practical stuff too, like the ship breaking in half was practical. But they
Yeah.
sprinkled in, you can see, I remember seeing the behind the scenes of it where, yeah, they broke the ship in half on set, but then they go to this shot of like, now here's what we did to add things, and they would add like little people falling off
Uh-huh.
and the lights flickering, and these things complement each other. um so yeah, this was like, we're going down to CGIville. We see how terrible it is. Maybe we'll come out the other side okay. And I think for the most part,
And
it's fine.
and the HD
Yeah.
where gimped they gimped themselves for the future. Yeah, it's sad. They thought it was gonna be like, I don't know why they did that, but yeah, because now those movies, I mean, you can't do too much to them because that's their max resolution. So like bringing
Yeah.
them to 4K, it doesn't translate very well with those first HD digital movies like
Yeah.
Star Wars Episode 1 and
It's kind of like trying to remaster a song from a CD.
yeah, exactly. Or from like a tape.
I think in a bigger movie, there would have been a whole scene of like the natural soldiers fighting the genetically engineered soldiers just through their wits, and like some kind of
Mm-hmm.
like a defection on the ship, like a mutiny. And they go down and rescue Kurt Russell. Maybe that's too on the nose.
Yeah, he'd be like, "Come on, soldier. You're always like a son to me."
You're always like a son to me.
Todd.
I love you, Todd. If you weren't like my son, you'd be my husband.
And then like this tear just like streams down Kurt Russell's blank face.
His mouth is shaking like he does throughout the movie. Fear
And
him, just blitzer.
sweating.
Thank you everyone for listening. I hope you seek out this movie. It's on Blu-ray. I don't know what the quality is. But yeah, look it up. Just watch it streaming. It's totally worth it. Short and sweet, simple, good performances, good action. Go watch it. Thank you for listening to Film Juice. I've been Mike,
I've been John.
and we will see you next time. Make sure you like and subscribe, and
Adios.